In April of 2017, construction began on a new 400-foot tall radio tower rated to withstand hurricane-force winds at the Department of Emergency Services facility in Wicomico County, Maryland. This is the story of the construction of that tower. The tower is freestanding, meaning it does not require the support of guide wires, and is engineered to withstand 120-mile-an-hour winds when fully loaded with antennas. It will be the tallest of the public safety radio towers used by the police, firefighters, and employees of Wicomico County. The tower is anchored to 3 pilings buried in the ground. Each circular piling is constructed of steel reinforced concrete, 7 feet in diameter, extending 70 feet into the ground. The process began with leveling the site and digging these 7-foot wide holes 7 stories deep. An environmentally friendly liquid polymer, as can be seen here dripping from the huge drill bit, is used to keep the holes from collapsing. The top 10 feet of each hole is also supported by a metal sleeve. The steel reinforcing cage for the concrete pilings are constructed above ground on their side and then lifted vertically and lowered into the holes. The long, straight pieces of rebar are 1.5 inches in diameter and weigh 367 pounds each. They are supported with circular rebar 5/8 inches in diameter, every 18 inches, and spaced even closer near the top and bottom. Each steel cage weighs over 17,000 pounds, or more than the weight of 4 average-sized automobiles. Together, the 3 cages weigh over 26 tons. The cages were lifted off the ground and lowered into the hole with a crane. Each hole was then filled with 100 cubic yards of concrete in one long continuous pour, requiring about 10 trucks of concrete per pier. The first lowest 20-foot section of the tower is connected to the concrete piers with bolts 7.5 feet long by 1 3/4 inches in diameter, which are bolted to a 1-inch thick steel plate buried 6 feet in the concrete. The 72 anchor bolts weigh over 2 tons total. The tower is built in 20-foot tall sections. Each section is then bolted to the one below. The first 3 sections were built in place, piece by piece. The remaining sections are assembled on the ground, and a complete 20-foot section is lifted into place and bolted to the tower by the tower climbers. The bottom 20-foot section weighs over 20,000 pounds and is attached to the concrete piers via the 72 anchor bolts. The second 20-foot section is attached to the first with 90 bolts, each 1 1/4 inch in diameter and 6.5 inches long. The entire tower is held together with 96 buckets of bolts, totaling over 1,700 bolts. The bottom section alone has over 120 pounds of nuts and bolts holding it together. After the first 3 tower sections were assembled in place, the remaining 20-foot sections were lifted into place using a crane capable of lifting 400 tons. The crane is so large it takes 7 tractor trailers to haul the crane pieces to the site, and all day to put the crane together using a second crane capable of lifting 150 tons. The big crane can lift to 550 feet, but is restricted to 425 feet at this site by FAA regulations. While the antennas are installed on the tower, they are connected to the radio system located in the building at the base of the tower, referred to in the business as the tower shelter. The shelter is a concrete building 11.5 feet wide by 44 feet long and weighing 106,000 pounds. It's prefabricated off-site and lowered onto its foundation with a crane.
Not for everybody. You know, a lot of people are afraid of heights. To me, it's like walking down the road. What do you think, bud?
It's experience like no other, you know. Always got to be thinking, your brain's working.
Yeah, one mistake and, you know.
It's a long ways to the bottom.
Even though you're tied off and your harness is on you, you know, you can still have an accident. You got to pay attention. You can't come to work drunk. You got to be sober 24/7. Too high up there. I always stick build it on the ground. We build the sections on the side. They're 20-foot sections. We stick build it with a boom truck and a gym with a Poe and a Sky Track, and we build it on its side. And then we pick it up with the boom truck. Then the crane gets ready to pick it up and set it.
And when the crane comes in, crane day, which it was a big crane, it was a 500-foot crane. Come in and pick up 20-foot sections. We climb up every 20 feet, make our connection, unhook him. And he brings up another section.
20 foot at a time.
20 foot at a time.
This bottom 20-foot section weighs 22,000 pounds. This 20 foot of it. The bottom 20 foot weighs 22,000. And the next one's 20,000 and 18,000 and so on. Switches as it goes up. It's a lot of weight right here.
Total weight is 110,000 pounds.
I've been doing it for 5 years and
It'll be my first year pretty soon.
yeah, he's better than me.
Let's say that.
We've been, we done 5 towers for JG. They're good guys to work with. Easy going. It's a lot cooler up there. If you're on the ground working, because there's always groundwork. Somebody needs always, when you're going up a tower, there's always one man on the ground. Can't have two people in the air and nobody on the ground. It's cooler up there. Down here you sweat more than up there. I'm already sweating again.
You always got to have two guys on the tower and one on the ground. Just in case somebody gets hurt or something, you have a guy up there to help them get down.
Yeah, the wind's blowing, cooler on temperature because the wind's blowing. So all these buildings down here block the wind. So it's a lot better up there to me. I could take a nap up there if I needed to. I'm not scared. It is physical. I'm all beat up. See all them bruises?
Yeah,
Bruises banged up from hitting. You know, it's a lot of physical strength you need.
The difference is up there and on the ground is you got no leverage. You got to figure out a way to get leverage, wrap your legs around stuff. You guys wrap some straps, tie yourself against something. Always a fight in the air. If we can get it on the ground, it's the best way to get it is on the ground. Once it gets in the air, it's a fight.
First 2 weeks of climbing, if you've never climbed before, you'll be out of shape. You'll be hurt. You'll be wore out. I'm gonna go back to Texas from here. Another job, another one. We've been out 90 days.
Yeah, we've been 90 days since we've been back home base in Texas.
We left the day after Easter. We've been in Maryland the whole time. In Virginia, Maryland and Virginia. We're nationwide. We travel nationwide.